afternoon, everyone. Happy Sunday afternoon. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. We have a lot of news to get to this afternoon, so let's get started. First up, New Hampshire reports 27 new coronavirus cases. 214 in total. The majority of the state's cases are in Rockingham County with 86 positive COVID-19 test results. New Hampshire health officials announced 27 new cases of COVID-19 on Saturday, bringing the state's total to 214. There were 9 men and 17 women who tested positive, as well as one boy below the age of 18, according to the state's Department of Health and Human Services. 2 people have died from COVID-19, while 33 people have been hospitalized to data. Another 925 are being monitored for signs of the virus. 2 inmates test positive for coronavirus at Middlesex Jail. The Middlesex Sheriff's Office has implemented additional measures in response to the case. 2 inmates at the Middlesex Jail and House of Corrections have tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 2 days, authorities announced. The first was tested by medical staff on Thursday and received a positive test Friday. After getting that result, that inmate's roommate was also tested on Friday, and a positive test returned yesterday. The second inmate had not been showing any symptoms for COVID-19, that disease caused by the novel coronavirus, and was tested out of a precaution. The Middlesex Sheriff's Office said both men have been placed in medical isolation in the Health Services Unit. In response to these results, the Middlesex Sheriff's Office announced new steps to combat the virus, including limiting movement in and out of the affected inmates' units, asking officers assigned to the unit to self-quarantine, and providing unit residents and working officers with masks. Gun-toting group reportedly attempts to force residents to quarantine. Authorities in Maine are investigating after several people with guns reportedly tried to force a resident to stay quarantined at home. The Coast Guard was called to the home, the area of Cripple Creek Road on Van Isle Heaven, after receiving a report that several people with guns had cut down a tree and used it to block the driveway, according to the Knox County Sheriff's Office. The caller reportedly told authorities that act was an effort to keep the resident quarantined. Authorities say the group fled before police arrived. Police say this was likely a targeted incident and there is no threat to the public. The incident remains under investigation. 12 total deaths, over 200 cases of coronavirus in Vermont, has state ups testing. Vermont's National Guard will operate a new testing site at a landmark college. Rhode Island governor to provide updates after issuing stay-at-home order. The Rhode Island governor has also banned gatherings of more than 5 people and order anyone coming into the state for non-work purposes to quarantine for 14 days. Rhode Island governor on Saturday issued a stay-at-home order and banned gatherings of no more than 5 people, saying many residents had not been taking social distance guidelines seriously enough. Under the order, which extends through April 13th, anyone not leaving the house for food, medical supplies, gas, or other essential items must stay home unless they are essential workers or are taking a walk while social distancing. State imposes new restrictions on travelers from New York. States are pulling back the welcome mat for travelers from New York area, which is the epicenter of the country's coronavirus outbreak, but some say at least one state's measures are unconstitutional. Governors in Texas, Florida, Maryland, and South Carolina this week order people arriving from New York area, including New Jersey and Connecticut, and other virus hotspots to self-quarantine for at least 14 days upon arrival. Connecticut officials have also pleaded with New Yorkers and others from out of state to avoid visiting unless absolutely necessary. President Trump on Saturday, he said he was considering a possible quarantine of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, but later called the idea unnecessary after criticism from those governors. Kelly O'Donnell from NBC News has more on this story. Let's listen.
Why did President Trump at first float the idea of a quarantine for the hard-hit states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, an idea he later called not necessary after he received criticism, as you heard a minute ago, from governors of those states? NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is at the White House with more. Kelly, good morning.
Good morning, Willie. The president's quarantine idea formed and fell apart in just about 8 hours. President Trump suggested the measure after I asked him a question on a different topic. He said he had just spoken to Governor DeSantis of Florida, and as we know, Florida has been concerned about travelers from the New York, New Jersey area bringing the illness south. Of course, Governor DeSantis has also been criticized for not closing public beaches earlier. While the federal government, through the CDC, does have powers to quarantine in an emergency, the president and his advisors did not answer my questions about what legal basis the president would use for what he called an enforceable quarantine. So, of course, the uproar was swift. It was loud. Governors from those 3 states raised many concerns about the impact and the potential chaos. And so a 2-week travel advisory was issued instead. And Connecticut's governor summed it up this way. He said the White House was thinking out loud. Willie?
All right, Kelly O'Donnell at the White House for us. Kelly, thank you as always.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.